Hi everybody, this is Laura, City Scrapper. Thank you so much for joining me on my channel. Today I have a layout that I made using the July 2022 My Creative Scrapbook Limited Edition Kit. I have a number of videos that I have filmed, but I haven't edited and voiced over, so that's something that I've been concentrating on. So I'm going to bring you a few videos that are kind of a blast from the past. I didn't want to delete them. I thought that it would be worth taking the time to get them finished and available for you to see. In the July kit, we received this gorgeous collection from 49 and Market called Spectrum Sherbet. My understanding is this was one of the most popular collections from 49 and Market, and I can see why. I just kept making layouts with it. This is one of the layouts that I made, and I continued to make layouts even after I had submitted my layouts for the month. There were just so many beautiful papers, and I was just enjoying working with the collection so much. For this layout, I'm making a kind of traditional composition, a wreath that's in the center of the page. I drew a pencil circle just to make sure that I had the embellishments in the right spots. I picked out embellishments that were green, blue, peach, and yellow. I'm arranging them on this circle that I've drawn. This collection was chock full of flowers, leaves, and butterflies, and I think that those are great ingredients for a wreath. You can see that I have a couple of tickets over to the right-hand side of my photo. I selected a sentiment that says choose joy, and I have it to the left-hand side of the photo, and that is where I'm going to end up putting my title and some phrases underneath the title. I tucked a blue ticket between the orange and the yellow tickets. You can see that I have a number of those blue flowers with the white and then the black centers, and I wanted to make sure that those were spread evenly throughout the wreath because I think they're kind of eye-catching, and I wanted to make sure that I had them well spaced. I started off leaving the large leaf clusters together, but then I was thinking it would probably look better if I cut them into smaller pieces and spread them throughout the wreath rather than just having all of the same color in the same spot. Whenever I'm creating a wreath using a lot of smaller pieces, I always try to be careful that the wreath ends up looking like a circle. Sometimes you can have the elements laid out on a circle, I have found, but in the end, because of the positioning of some of the elements, it might look a little lopsided, and that tends to happen a little bit more when the embellishments are on the larger side. So throughout the whole process of creating the wreath, I try to keep that in mind. I know that it's not going to be a perfect circle or even close to that. I just don't want it to be super obvious that it's not a circle or have your eye go to one part of it because it looks a little off. In the end, I think it worked out okay. Not perfect, but I think that it's basically a circle. I wanted to give some of the elements on the wreath a little bit of dimension, and the first things that I think to pop up on foam are butterflies. So I did pop up a couple of butterflies, and I attached them down using ATG adhesive because I wanted to make sure I could move things around, especially on this wreath. I moved lots of things around on this layout. I wanted to mat the photo. I started out by matting it on some white cardstock. Then I wanted to mat it on some blue paper. I didn't have a lot of blue paper, but I had enough strips to put some strips around the outside edge of a white piece of paper and create a blue border for my photo. I figured out what size the white paper needed to be, and then I cut 2 strips of blue for both sides. For the top and the bottom, I'm cutting the corners on angles, attempting to make a 45-degree angle, but it doesn't have to be perfect because only a small amount of the blue is going to be showing around the photo. I wanted to make sure that the photo is prominent on the page, so I thought that I could draw a little more attention to it by using some Distress ink in black soot and inking the edges of this blue bat. As I had mentioned, the photo is of both of my daughters at a place called the Magic Garden or Gardens in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. It's a house. It is absolutely covered in mosaics, every inch of it. And then there are also some other mosaics on that same street. It's a really, really cool place. And what's nice about this photo is it has so many of the same colors that are in this Spectrum Sherbet collection. We ended up going there 2 months in a row. The first time we went there, my younger daughter was so in love with it, and she was just dressed normally, and she was thinking that she wanted to take pictures with a nicer outfit on because she was just so enthralled with this beautiful place. It was really cool, and around every corner there was something very different. So we did get a whole lot of photos both times actually, but this was the time that she picked out a nice outfit that she thought would go along well with the artwork that was there. Here I'm adding some photo corners to my photo, and I'm using 4 different colors. I had a couple of little scraps of paper, and I decided to use a different color for each one of them. There are so many colors on this layout. I was thinking that adding a metallic in might look kind of nice. My idea was to add another matte to the photo. If I'm going to add a color like gold, I want to make sure that it's close to the photo because gold is so eye-catching. So I thought I would make a third matte. I cut a piece of white cardstock to the correct size. Then I used Versamark, which is basically an adhesive in an ink pad form, and I put that around the edges of the piece of paper, and then I added some gold embossing powder, and now I am embossing the edges. Whenever I'm embossing, I like to use 2 coats of the embossing powder. I could have used a gold piece of paper, but the reason that I chose to use embossing powder is because I also wanted to emboss these leaves. These were leaves that we got in the July kit, so I wanted the 2 to match, and I thought that embossing powder would be the best way to go. Instead of using the Versamark for the leaves, I'm using this adhesive. I got it in Michael's a long time ago. It has liquid adhesive in a bottle, and then it has a dauber on the top, so it's really easy to apply to these types of embellishments. Sometimes embossing can take a little bit of time to do, especially if you're embossing a number of embellishments, but I think that it's so worth it. I just love the results. Now I have my gold mat completed, so I'm putting some ATG adhesive on the back of this photo, and I am layering it on top of the gold mat. And now I'm going to again place it on the right hand side of the layout. You could see that I removed those tickets that were on the right hand side of the photo. I decided to just go with flowers and butterflies and leaves all the way around the layout. Now that I'm all done with matting the photo, I'm putting some adhesive on the back and I'm attaching it down again to the right side of the wreath. And then I'm going to start working on my title. I'm using the word magic as my title. The letters that I'm using are from a thickers pack, and we got that in a past My Creative Scrapbook limited edition kit. I consider them a magic pack of thickers because I've been using them for years and for so many layouts, and I still have some letters left. I can't believe how long 1 pack of thickers can last, but I think that gold thickers are great on so many layouts, so I was able to use them quite a few times. Below the title, I'm going to add some additional sentiments. One says, "You make me smile," and one says, "Choose joy." I inked the edges with some distress ink in black soot, and now I'm using some thick white cardstock, attaching it to the back of both of these phrases. This will help to make them a little bit more sturdy because I'm going to put some foam behind them and pop them up off of the background just to give them a little bit of dimension. I attached some foam to the back, and I believe that big roll of foam is from Spiegelmom Scraps. I wanted to add something from the wreath, some element, and bring it into the area with the title, so I decided to use a butterfly. I placed the butterfly over the word magic. Later on, I move it a little bit further down so that it looks more like it's resting on top of the word magic. I didn't want all of the elements of the title to be spaced too far apart. I wanted them to look a little bit more like one unit. I'm going to tuck those leaves that I embossed in gold into a couple of different areas on the layout. I was trying to spread them evenly around that wreath. And then I also popped some of the flowers up on some foam. I like the way it looks with some of the flowers having some dimension, and that foam is not super thick, but just enough to give a little bit of depth to the layout. I ended up cutting those leaves or branches that I had embossed down just a little bit. They were just a little bit too long for the layout, and I thought that by trimming them a little bit, they would fit in there a little bit better. And then I took the leaves that I cut off from the larger branches and I combined them to make little small branches, and I used those in a couple of places on the layout as well. I figured that since I took the time to emboss the leaves, I might as well use them all up. I love to add embellishments like jewels and pearls to my layouts. I picked out some pearls that were in my stash. I had some green, orange, and yellow pearls that I thought went well with this layout. And the packs of pearls that I picked out had a couple of different sizes of each color. So I like that idea because I like having a variety of sizes on the layout. I put the pearls on the photo corners. I do end up switching that out in a little bit. Now those leaves that I had glued together, they're dry, and so I'm placing them on the wreath. I placed the gold leaves in a couple of areas that I noticed didn't have any gold and could use a little touch of it. I covered up my photo with a scrap piece of cardstock, and now I'm using some watered down white acrylic paint, and I'm adding some splatters all around the wreath. When I am making a mixed media background, I tend to add a lot of white splatters, but when I'm adding white splatters to a layout that doesn't have any other mixed media, I am a little more conservative with the splatters. I want to have some splatters, but I don't want to go too crazy because the splatters are more prominent on a layout like this. I found I had another yellow butterfly, so I put some foam on the back of the wings and I placed that on the top of the layout. And then I was thinking I would add some more pearls to the layout. I added 3 pearls underneath the phrase that says choose joy. I wanted to add some glitter to the butterflies, so I'm using some Bo Bunny glitter paste. The color is called Sugar. It is a transparent glitter paste and it adds a lot of glitter. And I love the way that it looks. It dries pretty quickly and I think it has a big impact. The butterflies really look glittery and shimmery when I'm done adding this paste to them. For this layout, I added 2 coats of the glitter paste. I wanted to make sure that there was an even coverage all over my butterflies. I'm using those same pearls that I used for the photo corners and under the title, and I'm spreading them all around the wreath. I used the different sizes so that there would be a little bit of variation, and then I used all 3 of the colors. I love adding the pearls. It adds a different material to the layout, and it also is a delicate element, so I like having some smaller embellishments along with the larger ones. There were a lot of touches of black on the embellishments that I chose for the wreath. So I chose black for the color of jewels that I put in the center of my butterfly, something that I love to do and I do a lot. These gems are from a manufacturer called Studio G. I like the way these packs, just like the pearls, have 3 different sizes of the gems in them. So I used different sizes on different butterflies depending on how large the butterflies were. And then I decided to take the pearls off of the photo corners and replace them with the black jewels. I just thought that the jewels were very eye-catching and I wanted your eye to go to the photo, and I thought that it would make sense to put the most eye-catching color closest to the photo. I wanted to have a blue flower right underneath the photo. There was no blue flower in that area. So I cut apart 2 of the flowers that were next to the photo. So now there's still a blue flower next to the photo, but there's a blue flower under the photo as well. And then once I made that change, I had to move around a number of the embellishments so that I didn't have any bare spots on my wreath. And it took a little bit more moving around of elements than I originally thought that it would. I didn't think that it would take me so long to fill in the spot next to the photo, but I finally got everything rearranged and the way that I wanted it. I relocated an orange pearl, and that was the last touch on the layout, and here are some close-ups. Thank you so much for watching this video, everybody. I really hope that you enjoyed it, and a special thanks for staying to the end. I am so grateful to every single person who watches my videos. Thank you so much. I do want to say a special thank you to those of you who regularly comment on my videos. I really appreciate you taking the time to do that, and I never get tired of seeing your comments and reading them. It's such a special part of this channel for me, and I just want to say a special thank you. As always, if you take a look in the description box, you'll find a link to the My Creative Scrapbook website. You could check out all of the current kits, and if you're interested, you can purchase a subscription there. I hope everybody has a fantastic day, and I hope to see you again soon. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.